All right, so we're diving deep today
Uh-huh.
into learning English more effectively.
Yes.
We're going to be taking a look at this Prep Scholar article. It's called How to Learn English, 9 Steps to Fluency.
Okay.
It's super comprehensive. I think it's helpful for really anyone, no matter what your level is.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about this article is that it really emphasizes personalization.
Right.
Like, finding what works for you.
Yeah.
And I think that is really key for long-term success.
Absolutely.
Not a one-size-fits-all.
Totally, yeah. And it even gets into like turning your grocery list into a vocab lesson. How fun is that?
Oh, that's fun.
But before we get to all that fun stuff, you know, we got to start with the foundation here, right?
Right.
Setting a clear goal.
Yeah.
Like, why are you learning English? Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it to ace the TOEFL? Do you want to finally watch movies without subtitles?
Yeah.
Travel with confidence?
Sure.
What is it, you know?
Yeah, having that why. It's like, setting your compass and charting your course.
Yes, love that.
Once you have that clear direction,
Uh-huh.
you can kind of tailor that journey
Yes.
to reach your specific destination.
Yes, absolutely. And that brings us to creating a study schedule.
Okay.
The article is a sample schedule,
Mhm.
but the real takeaway is figuring out what works for you.
Right.
Are you, someone who thrives on those late night study sessions?
Yeah.
Or do you like to do it in little bursts throughout the day?
I think it's also interesting that the article acknowledges different learning styles.
Yeah.
Because some of us are very visual. We like flashcards, diagrams.
Right.
But some people are more auditory. They need podcasts, audio lessons.
Right.
And then there are people who are kinesthetic
Uh-huh.
and they need to move around, interact with the language.
Okay, so how do we figure out which learning style we are?
Well, I think you have to think back to your own experiences with learning. Like, have you always preferred reading over listening to lectures?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, find yourself doodling,
Yeah.
taking notes
Yeah.
to remember information better?
Yeah.
And once you start recognizing your dominant learning style,
Yep.
I think that can significantly impact your study strategy.
I've always loved flashcards for vocab, but maybe that's just my visual learning style coming through.
Could be.
Speaking of tools, though, right?
Yes.
The article dives into all sorts of resources,
Mhm.
from tutoring to textbooks to online programs.
Yeah, and I think here's where that personalization really comes in.
Yes.
Because each tool
Yeah.
kind of has its own strengths and weaknesses,
Right.
and what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
So let's take one-on-one tutoring, for example,
Okay.
to talk about how effective it can be,
Mm-hmm.
especially for pinpointing your weaknesses,
Yeah.
accelerating your progress.
Yeah, they actually give an example of
Yeah.
someone who, significantly improved their French
Wow.
in just 1 week with a tutor.
That's impressive.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You get that tailored attention, you get the immediate feedback.
Right. Right.
Of course, it can be a bit of an investment,
It can, yeah.
both time and money.
Yeah.
So,
That's where, I guess, language classes can be a good alternative. They
Yes.
offer that more social environment, often at a lower cost,
right.
but it's really crucial
Yeah.
to find a class that's the right size
Yeah.
and format for you.
Yes, absolutely.
The smaller group might allow for more individualized attention,
Sure.
whereas a larger class
Yeah.
might give you more diverse conversation practice.
Right. Then you have the online programs like Rosetta Stone, Duolingo.
Well, yeah.
Super convenient.
Yeah.
Can be a fun way to pick up, some basic vocabulary.
Right. But I think, as the article points out, the quality can really vary.
Yeah.
Significantly across different programs.
Right.
Some might be more focused on gamification than actual language acquisition.
Yeah.
So do your research.
Yes.
Read reviews.
Yeah.
Maybe try out a few free trials before you
that.
commit to anything paid.
That's a really good point. And then we have the good old-fashioned textbooks.
Oh, the textbooks.
Remember those?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, they can be a fantastic resource.
They can.
Especially for, diving deep into grammar rules, doing those exercises.
Yes.
But let's be honest, sometimes they can be a bit dry. Yeah. So how can we make textbook study more engaging?
Well, the article suggests some really great strategies.
Okay.
Like summarizing the chapters.
Okay.
Aloud,
Right.
creating your own practice dialogues,
Right.
or even using the textbook as
Yeah.
a springboard to research
Yeah.
topics that pique your interest.
I love that.
It's about transforming that passive reading
Right.
into an active learning experience.
Yes. Yes. And of course,
And then we can't forget about
podcasts. You're listening to one right now.
Yes.
you already know how great they can be for improving your listening comprehension. Getting exposed to these authentic English conversations.
Right. And there's some fantastic podcasts out there.
Yeah.
Specifically designed for English language learners, like The English We Speak,
Okay.
Breaking News English.
I love those.
They often break down complex topics into bite-sized chunks.
Yeah.
They provide transcripts, explanations to support your understanding.
I've always thought of podcasts as like a sneaky way to learn, Yeah. You're just relaxing, listening to something interesting.
Right.
But you're actually absorbing the language.
Right.
Kind of subconsciously.
Right.
And for those who love a more visual approach, flashcards are a classic for a reason.
Flashcards, yeah.
Oh, I remember making stacks of flashcards.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I even used different colored pens to categorize them.
Visual aids can make learning
more engaging, more memorable.
Totally.
And nowadays, you have tons of digital flashcard apps, websites that offer spaced repetition.
Yes.
Personalized quizzes.
Right.
To make the process more efficient.
It's like having a virtual vocabulary coach just in your pocket.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about setting goals.
Yeah.
We've talked about, creating a study schedule, exploring different learning tools.
Yes.
But language learning isn't just a solo mission, is it?
No, absolutely not.
This is where finding study buddies comes in.
Yes.
Embracing that social aspect of language learning.
This is important.
The article mentions, websites like meetup.com, italki, Verbal Planet. These are great resources for connecting with other learners.
Yeah.
But you can also find study buddies in your local community, maybe at the library, at a community center, even a coffee shop.
Sure.
The key is to find someone who is supportive, reliable,
and shares similar learning goals.
It's like having a workout buddy for your brain.
I love that.
Yeah.
Right, you can practice conversations.
Yes.
You can share learning tips.
Right.
Celebrate those milestones together.
Exactly.
And speaking of celebrating, let's talk about embracing mistakes.
Oh, the mistakes.
I think this is where a lot of language learners get stuck.
That's natural, right?
Including myself.
Yeah.
You worry about sounding silly, making grammatical errors.
You feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
But the truth is mistakes are inevitable.
Right.
And actually essential for growth.
Yes, and the article shared this funny story.
Oh, yeah.
About someone who accidentally said they were afraid of spoons.
Instead of cockroaches.
Instead of cockroaches in Spanish. Can you imagine? It's a good reminder that even those embarrassing blunders can be these valuable learning experiences.
That's what's fascinating is that our brains learn best through trial and error. So every mistake we make actually helps us to refine our understanding of the language.
Yes.
Avoid making the same mistake again.
So instead of cringing when we mess up, we should, view those moments as opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly.
And hey, sometimes they lead to the funniest stories.
They do, yeah.
So embrace those moments with a sense of humor and curiosity, and don't let the fear of making mistakes hold you back.
Yeah, don't let it stop you
from practicing and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great advice. So we've talked about embracing those mistakes, but how do we actually learn from them?
Well, one strategy is to record yourself speaking.
Okay.
And then listen back. And you can kind of pinpoint areas where you need to improve.
Right.
You can also ask, native speakers for feedback on your pronunciation.
Right.
Grammar.
Okay, I love that. It's like having your own personal language coach.
Exactly.
So we've covered setting goals, creating a study schedule, choosing those tools, finding study buddies, and embracing those mistakes.
Yeah.
But how do we take all of this learning and integrate it into our daily lives?
Exactly.
That's the next step.
And that's where we'll pick up next time.
Oh, cliffhanger.
Yes.
Okay, great. We'll see you then.
That's right.
Yeah?
It's all about making English a natural part of your day. Even if you're not living in an English-speaking country.
Yeah, so creating those immersion moments, right?
Yes.
And the article has some pretty creative ideas, writing your grocery list in English.
I love that.
I actually used to do something similar when I was learning French. I would label things around my apartment with their French names.
That's great.
It's like I was living in a little French bubble.
Exactly. And there are so many other ways to do that.
Yeah.
You can listen to English music while you work, watch movies or TV shows with English subtitles, or even like switch your phone settings to English.
It's crazy how many opportunities there are just
Yeah.
to expose ourselves to the language throughout the day.
Yeah.
Speaking of opportunities,
Yeah.
what about like finding ways to actually use English in real life situations?
Right. So think about your hobbies and interests.
Okay.
Can you find a way to incorporate English into those activities?
So if you're a foodie, you could try following like English language recipe blogs.
Yes.
Watching cooking shows in English.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Or if you love music,
Yeah.
sing along to your favorite English songs.
Yes.
Pay attention to the lyrics.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. It's all about finding those activities that you're passionate about,
Yes.
that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And it makes the learning feel like effortless and enjoyable.
I've always been like a bit of a bookworm. So I used to devour English novels.
Oh, nice.
It was such a great way to expand my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Get a feel for different writing styles.
And let's not underestimate the power of like the digital world.
Yeah.
You can join online communities related to your hobbies. Follow English language social media accounts.
Okay.
Participate in online forums. Discussions.
That's like opening a door to a global community of people who share your interests, all while practicing your English.
Right.
I love that.
And the best part is, with all these options available, you can really tailor your approach to fit your unique learning style and preferences.
Absolutely. So, the article emphasizes regularly assessing your study plan and making adjustments as needed.
Right.
So if you find that a certain method just isn't working for you, don't be afraid to switch things up.
Exactly. Maybe you need to try a different learning tool.
Yeah.
Find a new study buddy. Or maybe, like, revisit your goals. Make sure they're still aligned with your current needs and motivations.
It's like checking in with yourself.
Yes.
And asking, is this still serving me? Am I still enjoying this process?
Yeah.
Do I need to change direction?
I think those are such important questions to ask ourselves periodically.
Yes, absolutely.
Throughout our language learning journey. Because it's so easy to get caught up in the routine. And forget to pause and reflect on how things are going.
Speaking of, how things are going. Let's talk about celebrating those wins.
Oh, the wins, yes.
No matter how small they may seem.
Right.
Did you finally master that tricky grammar rule?
Yes.
Did you have a successful conversation with a native speaker?
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Yes, give yourself a pat on the back. Every step forward is a victory.
Right.
And I think it's so crucial.
It is.
To acknowledge and appreciate those milestones.
It's so easy to get discouraged when we focus on our shortcomings or the things we haven't mastered yet.
Yeah.
But if we can shift that perspective a little bit and celebrate even the smallest wins, it can make a huge difference in our overall attitude and approach to learning.
It's about cultivating that growth mindset, embracing the journey.
The journey, not just the destination.
Not just the destination, right. And speaking of embracing the journey, let's circle back to something we talked about earlier, the fear of making mistakes.
Oh, the mistakes.
It's something that I think holds a lot of people back.
It does.
From truly, engaging with the language.
It's completely understandable.
It is.
I mean, to put yourself out there and speak in a new language, it can feel vulnerable.
Yes.
Especially in the beginning.
I remember when I first started speaking French, I was terrified of sounding foolish.
Yeah.
But then I realized that everyone makes mistakes.
Right. Even native speaker.
Even native speakers, exactly.
Yeah.
And often those mistakes lead to the most memorable and valuable learning experiences.
That's so true.
The article even shared that funny anecdote about someone confusing the Spanish words for cockroach and spoon.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine the look on people's faces?
I can only imagine.
It's hilarious.
It is.
But it highlights, the importance of approaching language learning with a sense of humor. And not taking ourselves too seriously.
And I think what's so fascinating here is that when we can laugh at our mistakes, view them as opportunities for growth, it takes away some of that fear and pressure.
Right.
And so we're more likely to take risks experiment with the language, and ultimately learn more effectively.
So instead of beating ourselves up over every little mistake, we should embrace those moments.
Yes.
With, a sense of curiosity and even gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah.
They're proof
Yeah.
that we're pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zones and actually engaging with the language.
Yeah, remember the journey to fluency is not a linear path.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, plateaus, breakthroughs.
It's like hiking a mountain.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
There might be some steep climbs, rocky terrain, but the view from the top is always worth the effort.
It is.
And even if you don't reach the summit, you'll still have enjoyed the journey.
Yes.
And gained valuable experience.
You will have.
Along the way.
Right.
Love that analogy.
So how do we stay motivated?
Yeah.
Keep pushing forward, even when we encounter those inevitable challenges?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well, I think it goes back to those core principles we've been discussing.
Setting realistic goals.
Yes.
Finding study methods that resonate with us.
Right.
Connecting with other learners. Celebrating our wins.
Yeah.
Embracing our mistakes.
It's like having a toolkit.
Exactly.
Filled with strategies or resources to support us along the way.
Right.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
You're not.
There's a whole community of language learners out there facing similar challenges, celebrating those victories.
Absolutely.
Hey.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this one final thought.
Okay, heavy.
What's one small step you can take today to incorporate more English into your life?
Could be anything, right?
Anything.
From listening to an English podcast on your commute.
Yes.
Reading a few pages of an English book before bed. Even just changing the language settings on your phone.
On your phone.
The key is to start small.
Yes.
Be consistent, right?
And most importantly, have fun.
Have fun.
It's all about finding those little pockets of time.
Right.
Where you can just sprinkle in some English practice. Yeah. And you know what? We'd love to hear about those small steps you're taking.
Absolutely. Share your language learning journey with us on social media. Tell us what's working for you, what challenges you're facing, what tips you've discovered along the way.
We're all in this together.
We are.
A global community. United by this shared passion for learning English.
Right.
And who knows, maybe we'll inspire each other to try new things, overcome those obstacles, reach even greater heights of fluency.
And what I find truly remarkable is how transformative learning a language can be.
It really is.
Not just in terms of communication, but also in terms of personal growth.
It's so true. It pushes you to step outside your comfort zone.
It does.
Embrace those new perspectives.
Yeah.
Connect with people from different cultures.
Right.
In a more meaningful way.
And there's even evidence that suggests it can boost your cognitive skills, enhance memory, improve problem-solving abilities.
It's like a full-on workout for your brain.
It is.
So whether you're a seasoned language learner or just starting out, remember that every step you take, every word you learn,
every conversation brings you closer to fluency.
Fluency. And remember, fluency isn't just about, speaking perfectly, knowing every grammar rule.
It's not about perfection.
It's not about perfection.
It's about expressing yourself confidently, connecting with others authentically, and experiencing the world in a richer, more vibrant way.
Absolutely. So keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Keep practicing.
Keep practicing.
Keep challenging yourself.
Yes.
And most importantly, keep having fun.
Have fun.
We're cheering you on every step of the way.
We are.
Until next time, happy learning.
Happy learning.
Keep those language fires burning.